The long wait for Jax. If you ever passed through the tiny Rust Belt town of Oakhaven, Indiana, you couldn't miss the porch on 4th Street. And more importantly, you couldn't miss Buster. Buster was a scruffy, graying pit-terrier mix with one floppy ear and a tail that could knock over a coffee cup. But nobody in town ever saw that tail wag anymore. For 3 straight years, Buster sat on the top step of that rotting wooden porch, staring straight down the gravel road toward the highway. Rain, snow, or blazing summer heat didn't matter. Buster didn't budge. The house belonged to Jax. Jax was a 20-something mechanic with dirt under his fingernails and a heart bigger than the town itself. Him and Buster were attached at the hip. You couldn't see Jax without seeing that scruffy dog hanging out the passenger window of his beat-up blue F-150. They were brothers, plain and simple. Then came the storm of 2023. Jax had taken a last-minute hauling job up north during a brutal winter freeze. The night he left, he patted Buster on the head, tossed him a chunk of beef jerky, and said, "Hold down the fort, buddy. I'll be back before you know it." Jax never made it back that night. His truck was found smashed near an icy riverbank 3 hours away. Cab crushed, driver's side door flung open, but no sign of Jax. The state police searched for weeks. Eventually, they called it. The river was too fast, the weather too cold. They told the town Jax was gone. Try telling that to Buster. Every single morning at 6 a.m. sharp, Buster would trot out to the edge of the porch, sit down, and plant his nose toward the wind. Miss Clara, who ran the diner across the street, tried to adopt him. She'd walk over with a bowl of warm stew and say, "Come on inside, baby. It's freezing out here. Jax ain't coming back." Buster would take the meat politely, give her hand a soft nudge with his nose, and sit right back down. He wouldn't step off that property. He wouldn't go inside. He was on duty. Years dragged on. Townsfolk started calling him the Sentinel. Kids would bike past and throw him treats. Local truckers would blow their horns, and Buster would just lift his head, check the vehicle, realize it wasn't the old blue Ford, and lay his chin back down on his paws. By the 3rd winter, age was catching up to him fast. Buster's muzzle had gone completely white. His eyes were getting cloudy, and his hips stiffened up so bad he could barely stand. People in town knew his time was running short. Miss Clara built a small wooden shelter on the porch with heavy blankets, praying the old dog wouldn't freeze to death. "He's holding out for a ghost," the locals would whisper at the diner. "Poor dog's heart is going to break before his body gives out." Then came a Friday night in November. A nasty deluge was pouring down, turning the gravel road into thick brown sludge. Thunder cracked loud enough to rattle the window panes. Buster was inside his little wooden box, breathing slow and heavy. His body was exhausted. Every breath was a struggle. You could tell he was right on the edge. At around midnight, the wind died down just a bit. Through the sound of falling rain, a faint metallic clatter echoed down the road. It was a slow, uneven sound. Clack, drag, clack, drag. Inside his shelter, Buster's ears twitched. Clouded as his eyes were, his nose caught something in the damp night air. A scent he hadn't smelled in over 1,000 days. Motor oil, cheap pine cologne, rain, home. Buster let out a low, shaky whine. He pushed his front paws onto the wet porch boards, his body trembling violently from old age and sheer effort. He dragged himself out into the pouring rain. Down at the bottom of the lane, a tall silhouette limped out of the darkness. It was a man in a tattered canvas jacket, leaning heavily on a wooden crutch, dragging a twisted left leg. His hair was long, his face scarred, looking like he'd crawled through hell and back. It was Jax. He had survived the crash 3 years ago, but ended up in a remote cabin with no memory, no ID, and a shattered body, stuck in a nightmare of rehabilitation and lost identity until his memories finally cracked open weeks ago. He had hitched rides for 3 days straight just to get back to this spot. Jack stopped at the edge of the yard, wiping the rain from his eyes, staring up at his old house. He looked defeated, terrified of what he might find, or what he had lost. Then he heard it. A small, raspy bark from the porch. Jax froze. Buster? His voice cracked, barely louder than a whisper. Buster didn't just bark. He mustered every single drop of strength left in his fading heart. He didn't care about his bad hips or the freezing cold. The old boy took a staggering leap off the porch steps and ambled as fast as his legs could carry him across the muddy lawn. Jax dropped his crutch right into the mud, fell to his knees, and threw his arms wide open. "Oh God, buddy, you're here! You're still here!" Buster slammed into Jax's chest. The old dog started weeping, literally letting out soft, high-pitched whines, nuzzling his face right into Jax's neck, licking away the rain and tears on his master's cheeks. Jax pulled him in tight, burying his face in Buster's wet fur, sobbing uncontrollably right there in the middle of the storm. "I'm sorry, man. I'm so sorry it took me so long," Jax choked out, holding him like his life depended on it. "I promised I'd come back. I promised." For 10 whole minutes, the world outside didn't exist. It was just a man and his dog in the dark, bathed in the soft glow of a street lamp, reconnected at last. Buster's tail, stiff for 3 long years, thudded softly against the muddy ground over and over again. Jax pulled back to look at his friend. He noticed how heavy Buster was breathing, how fragile his body felt, how white his face had turned. Hey, look at me," Jax whispered, gently cupping Buster's head in his hands. "You did it, boy. You held down the fort. You can rest now. I'm home. I ain't ever leaving again." Buster looked deep into Jax's eyes. The anxiety that had weighed on the dog for 3 endless years vanished in an instant. A quiet, deep peace settled over him. He rested his heavy head right on Jax's shoulder, gave his cheek one last gentle lick, and let out a long, easy exhale. His body went limp in Jax's arms. The rain kept falling, soft and steady. Jax held his best friend close, feeling the warmth leave Buster's body, knowing the old boy hadn't stayed alive out of luck or chance. He had stayed alive out of pure, stubborn love, waiting just long enough to know his human was safe.